was like, I want her to come to Kansas.
Yeah.
Mind you, Michaela was about 1.5. So I'm like, oh no, I go there. My baby not going to Kansas. Nah, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my baby.
Yeah.
Like she can't do it.
Hear that. Sometimes we'll make them out to be like imbeciles, like they don't know up from
what
down.
they doing, yeah.
And to a large part, men be doing things different, but they also be surviving without us in their lives.
So do I harbor my feelings and say, no, my baby can't go there?
Okay.
And then be down here struggling.
In time.
Should have I trusted enough to have a baby with them? She can go with them. And some people, they have figured out where they can co-parent that way, where they can stay in the home with, even though they're not together, they can stay in the same home to raise their kids in that family unit.
Yeah, I used to think on the outside that I could do that shit. Yeah, but no, I had to fully separate, to not blur the lines, because emotions would have been all over the place. You need to know yourself enough to know what you can handle in a co-parenting relationship. It feels like we're in a relationship, but we're not.
He's seeing reality.
Yeah,
we're not together.
That's your head that's happening there.
Yeah, and then now your feelings is hurt, and you back to square one. Do I choose myself?
Yeah.
Or do I keep my family together? Whatever transpires, is it really that serious?
So when I got married, I realized that it was a whole club that I didn't realize that people was just going through things that I had no idea about. And so now becoming a mom, now I'm able to, you go through these different seasons, and now I'm connecting with different people in this season of my life because I'm able to identify with them, whatever. But now again, it's starting to jog my mind and be like, dang, you've been in these streets. Like,
being in the streets.
Like, co-parenting is, one of these clubs that don't nobody ever want to join, but when you get here, you're like, so y'all been just living this life this whole time. How has it been for you? What was co-parenting like in the beginning, as like young and firstly like starting it? Like, what are your memories?
I've been in the game for 16 years.
Girl,
my oldest is 16. So the good thing was, when I had her, I had a village. Yeah. Which were my parents. So co-parenting wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst because I had a village. So I still was able to do the things that I needed to do and wanted to do. Yeah. Because I had supportive parents. Yeah. Now when it came to my son, that's when
you really started feeling it.
I started feeling it.
How old were you?
When I had my son, I think I was 22.
Okay, all right.
And God had blessed me to get a babysitter. And that was the best thing I could have done at that time, because she would watch him anytime, any day, even on weekends, if I needed her to. Wow. And still to this day.
Was it expensive? Were you able to?
No, it wasn't expensive.
Okay.
So she was working at a daycare. And at that time, I was working 3 to 11 shift, and she was working at a daycare. And so I would take my 2 to the daycare, and she was like, instead of me sitting up here from 3 to 11, are you comfortable with me bringing them to my house and watching them? I'm like, oh, yeah. And then that just started that. And she still is my babysitter. Yeah. To this day.
So with both, like, I'm not going to say anybody's names, were you the, 100% custody?
All the time, yeah. Damn. Well, no, I won't say 100%. I'm thinking you're talking about living 50-50. Okay. 50-50. Okay. I was always, so my oldest 2, they have the same dad. And so we were together for years before we decided to break up. But even in the relationship with him, I had to still get a babysitter. Yeah. Just to work. Okay. But it was 50-50, like they'd stay with you half the time and stay with him half the time? No, we were in a relationship together. Okay. But when we broke up, it would be like that. Okay. Or they would go to my babysitter or to my mom.
Okay. Well, how old were they when y'all split?
So Ariane had to be around, because he was in elementary school, so I want to say 7, and Serena had to be around 10.
How was that?
They didn't kind of understand what was going on, because Ariane, he thought we were married.
Yeah.
So he was like, why y'all not living together? Why y'all, like, why we not, because we used to do a lot of family stuff, and so he's like, why y'all not living together? Why we not together? Mm-hmm. So we would co-parent. Like, I would still, even though we weren't together, I would still stay at his house sometimes. He'll still stay at mine. Okay. Until I got to the point where it was just like, no. And then it was a smooth transition. Yeah. It was a smooth transition.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was a smooth transition. It wasn't no problem.
What drove the breakup?
He wasn't pulling his weight.
So
he wasn't pulling his weight at all. Yeah. And I was doing more in a relationship than he was. And I was like, it's becoming too much. Mm-hmm. And I had to ponder on it a lot. Like, is this something that I want to do? Do I want to mess up this family unit? Mm-hmm. But then it kind of was like, you basically in a relationship by yourself. You're doing everything. So what is the benefit of the relationship if you're working and you're working yourself 2-3 jobs trying to support your household, and you still have this man here? Yeah. So who should you choose? Yeah. The relationship or yourself? Yeah.
And he just was cool with that.
No, he wasn't cool with it.
Okay. Okay.
He wasn't cool with it at all.
That's good. That means he has a heartbeat.
Yeah, he wasn't cool with it at all. That lingered on for like 4 or 5 years till I just was like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he's a good co-parent though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. That's good. All right. We were talking off air about like just having a good co-parent relationship. A good co-parent relationship don't mean you have a good relationship. No. It means that you know how to raise your kids together. Mm-hmm. And that's a thing that is not really done as well as, I don't know, the world would like. When I see out here in these streets, it's messy a lot of times. But I know that, I mean, I definitely didn't start off clean. Right. Especially being the one that was left. Like, there's still that, tension that happens at the beginning, but quickly that like, I don't have time for that. I don't have energy for that. But it was something that I had to learn. How has co-parenting changed for you? Was it, so that 4 or 5 year period,
we broke up, and then we was doing the back and forth thing, that, and then I just broke everything off, and so with that, it kind of was like, I still want the family, I still want this, I still want that, but it's like, if I get back with you, how is that going to work? Yeah. So it was times where we went through that stage of, since you don't want to be with me, I need to get my life together. I need to figure this out. So we went here for some months. Yeah. Until I had a conversation. I'm like, well, you can't do that. Like, you're affecting the children when you're disappearing from us and nobody hears or sees you. Yeah. And I'm still having to be in the child life. Like, that's not fair. Because you can disappear and I still have to be the full-time mom. Yeah. So once we got that understanding, it was like, okay, let me try to pull my weight. Yeah. So there was a little bit of struggle, but overall you would say that y'all co-parenting relationship has always been smooth. It has gotten better. Yeah, okay. And I want to make that distinction because it has gotten better. Like in the beginning of co-parenting for me, when I would talk to other guys that were co-parents, they're like, yeah, everything's cool. And that would make me think that something was wrong with me. I'm like, everything is hard. But then they would always say, it took time to get here. It depends on the person. Yeah. I mean, it takes time, but it can be longer with some couples. It can be shorter with some. So definitely you want to get there. But it's not something that you just figure out immediately. But it can be figured out. And some people have different degrees of relationships with their co-parent. Like, we ain't besties by a long shot, but we are good co-parents. But I know that we had to grow to get to that point. And most of it had to do with some of the frustration with the predicament. Like, I was frustrated at him because I had to share my baby. Yeah. When she was young. So how did you have any of those issues split in time with, I guess it probably be just with Kaylee. Because she was the only one that was like really young. Yeah. How was that for you? And that's different because you had kids that were much older that you had gone through that, but you didn't go through it in this way. No. So with McKaylee, as you know, me and him were in a relationship, and then when we broke up, he went back to Kansas. Mm-hmm. So Michaela was down here with me for some months, and then he was like, I want her to come up to Kansas.
Yeah.
Mind you, Michaela was about 1.5. So I'm like, oh no, my baby's not going. My baby not going to Kansas. Nah, that ain't gonna work. He was like, why not? You know, my mom's up here, her brother and sisters are up here. What's the issue? And I'm like, no, my baby, that's my baby. Yeah, like she can't do it.
Hear that.
So then after talking to people, and they was like, I don't see the problem. She's going with her dad. And
Didn't
I'm like,
that annoy you?
Yeah.
Because people be like, that's her dad. What's wrong? And I'd be like, bitch, you ain't on my side.
That ain't annoying me. The annoying me part was, why you let your baby go for so long? Ooh. And I'm like, she with her daddy. Yeah. And they're like, but why she
What did you think was going to happen? That I'm going to pick her up in 2 days from Kansas, my nigga? Like,
right. You think I could just drive up there and go pick her up because to please y'all? Like, no, I'm this is how I like it.
Yeah, this is how it has to. I mean, think about like just practically, like that don't make no sense. Like,
so yeah, she was 1.5, and then she stayed up there for like some months, and I was like, it's not as bad because my older two, you know, they do their own thing, so it's just like me. So I would FaceTime call, and check on her and everything, and then. After so long, it just became normal. Yeah, it just became normal. Like she would fly up there, or I would fly her up there. We'll meet at the gate, pass over, and then it just
becomes regular life. Yeah, it's something that like I never would think that I would be okay with my infant daughter. I mean, and the crazy part is they dads are capable. You know, like we were with them and they were capable. It's like sometimes we'll make them out to be like imbeciles, like they don't know up from
what
down.
They're doing, yeah.
And to a large part, men be doing things different, but they also be surviving without us in their lives for a very long time. They are capable. They're gonna do things differently, and there's things that we be doing that be wild too that they would never do. So it is what it is. The child needs both parents, and both of us are hopefully capable of doing it. And if so, they should have time with both parents.
Right.
But it definitely is something that I never thought that I would be okay with. Mm-hmm. But now, I mean, when you're forced to do it, you may as well start to enjoy the time that you have to yourself, because
it's
you can't do nothing about it.
So do I harbor my feelings and say, no, my baby can't go over there?
Okay.
And then be down here struggling.
Entire. That is it.
Or do I say, no, shit, if I trust him enough to have a baby with him, she can go with him.
That part. Which also you should be trusting the person that you're having a baby with to be a parent.
Right.
Maybe we don't think about that as much as we should, but you should if you haven't.
You should.
But that is exactly it. It's like when I found myself being like, I'm going to fight to, no, you can't. So what? I can be exhausted and tired. Like, yes, I need help.
You need help.
Unfortunately, that help means that she has to be completely away from me, but I still need help. I need to sleep. I need a break. And if that means that she needs to go and live with her dad for a short time, then
it is what it is. Like, she came back out when she first went to Kansas. She came back home in one piece. I was good.
Great.
I was like, okay.
Great.
Yeah,
10 toes, 10 fingers, girl, you doing good.
Okay. Nothing wrong, no scratches, no nothing. Yeah. You're doing good. So it's like, you just have to, you can't be, I understand when it's your first child, you like, that's my baby, baby. I got to protect my baby. But it's like, you got to also give yourself a break and give yourself some rest.
Yeah, because you're no good.
Because it's a lot.
You're no good if you're just at your wits. Listen, these babies be driving us to the end of ourselves.
Listen, you can't get no more naps.
Listen, the way that you will be to your child if you have not had sleep is worse than anything your co-parent could do. So it's probably better to just give yourself that space. Let them have some time with it. Also, let your child have a bond with their damn daddy.
Correct.
I mean, everything that I'm saying this as the person that was left. And I won't say if I can do it, anybody can do it. But I do understand how difficult it can be when you are hurt by this person. Mm-hmm. But it is so necessary to separate your child from y'all bullshit.
Your feelings. That has nothing to do with the baby. That has nothing to do with him being a daddy.
Nothing. And if I was still married to him, there's no way I would say he's not a capable dad. So it's not fair for me to pretend like he's not now. As far as I know. I mean, he might do shit that I don't like, but that doesn't mean he's not capable as a father. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do some shit that a whole bunch of people won't like. That don't make me a non-capable mom. So, but it's definitely something I had to grow into, and I definitely understand when I see other moms that are struggling through it. I just, at this point, I'm able to say, it'll get easier.
It'll get easier.
You'll get through it. Yeah. All right. So now, what is it that you are looking for, and how are you going about that as far as like your family dynamic now that your kids are growing up, getting older? I mean, Michaela's kind of like behind the curve on it.
She got 5.
Yeah. You jumped back in the game. You was home free.
You jumped right back in the game. Jesus. So now that I am dating,
damn, it's cutting up outside.
Now that I'm dating, I try to get to know the person first. So I will say this: when I'm dating, my kids, they don't meet the man.
Yeah.
They don't meet the man because there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get to know you first.
Yeah.
Sometimes I probably won't even tell them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you might not even meet them, so there's no point of you building this relationship with them. Absolutely. And trying to get to know them when we might not last long.
Yeah. Because
kids remember that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, let me get to know you first. Let me see what you're about, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah.
And then I might say, okay, he might be somebody I want my children to meet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky that Zuri's so young.
Yeah.
But she's getting older at the point. I mean, nobody's really like me. The most is at her birthday party, but she's seen everybody, so she didn't know anybody was anybody.
She probably fell asleep. She won't remember.
She was so tired. She don't even remember me.
You're right.
That day. So, but yeah, as she gets older, I'm gonna have to be more careful in making sure that she's not, making any contact with anybody. But for me, it's more about like making sure that, yes, I do want to make sure that I check you out and that I'm okay, but like there's so many check marks before I could be in a relationship with somebody now as a parent. Like, I feel like it's going to take a good year at minimum just to know that you're actually able of being inserted into my life and I can be inserted into yours. If they have kids, it could be even more. There's so much to bring together with like kids that I don't even know how to go about that. Like, have you ever had somebody get past the line to meet your kids? Yeah?
It was Michaela's dad.
Damn. Niggas ain't shit.
They didn't make it past that line. They didn't make it past that line. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Because that brings confusion.
It is.
It's like, okay, we're Mr. So-and-so. Oh, we not dealing with each other no more. Oh, okay. But he was just, like, no, we're not gonna do that. Let me get to know you first.
Yeah.
And then let's build something. Because a lot of times these men, when they date, they kind of unsure what they want to do.
They are.
So you might think you have something going on with them, or think y'all building up on something. They could be thinking y'all just friends.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I want to bring this person in my life that just thinks we're on that friend level and introduce them to my kids, and they don't have any plans for us moving forward?
Right. Yeah, it's a weird, and I don't know how it will be, but there are some guys that I feel like fit in a lot easier that are, like, you see the way that they are with kids and they would be like, oh, a perfect stepdad. And then there's some guys I'm like, I don't feel like they ever gonna like,
he good for me.
Right.
To go on a date with it. Hey, he can't come around by.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing because it's like you don't want to put somebody in that position.
You don't want to judge them.
Right, but it's like,
yeah, like how you reacted to this scenario or what you told me. I don't think you'll be a good fit to be around my children. Right. But you can be around me.
And it be people with kids too. It's just, because my daughter's so young, and then I meet guys that have kids but they're older. It's like just a whole different dynamic. That's why I tend to prefer guys with younger kids, because they tend to still be in that goo goo gaga phase where they know how to approach it. Kids, when they have kids that are older, they're out of that world. They're not dealing with babies no more, and they're done. And
the messed up part with me is I tend to date older. So like 40s, 40, and so they're children. They're children probably off in college somewhere.
Okay.
And I'm right here with a 5-year-old. He like, no. Like, you know, some men, they're open to it. They're like, shit, it don't bother me. And like, I like it. But then there's some men that's like,
yeah, I'm running into that now. Like, I'm moving into, I just now started moving into like the older, and when I say older bracket, just meaning like, you know, 37 to 41, 42-ish or whatever. And so a lot of them are coming with their kid years are done.
Right. They're not like teenagers.
Right. And I'm on that line where I mean, luckily I have a kid, so I don't necessarily need more, but I do, there's a part of me that still wants that experience of having a nuclear family where I'm with the father of my kid. But I don't know. I might have to just let that dream go because I'm not sure that it's for the right reasons. Like, I don't want to bring a whole kid in this world just for us to go to Disney as a family.
Right.
Like, that's not what believe me, I understand that is a whole responsibility. So I'm not quite there yet. But having these conversations now, like, in that space of trying to figure out what I want for a family is just different these days. What does that look like? Yeah. Yeah. So what is something that you had to get over as a co-parent? Something that was really hard for you in the beginning that you discovered.
We wouldn't have that family unit like we had before. So we wouldn't be doing those family vacations.
Oh man,
or those family yes.
That shit sucks. I am never gonna have, you know, like, I'm not trying to put I guess we could do the family t-shirts with the stepdad or something, but it's not the same. Like,
it's not.
It's so sad.
It's not the same.
So sad. And I guess you probably, at least you had that with Rennie, like, early. But with McKaylee, like, we haven't had that. Yeah. We haven't had that because me and him, we broke things off when she was 1. Yeah. So we haven't had to experience that, and it's kind of like, oh, that sucks. It sucks so bad. I still want all that stuff so much.
Now, the older they were able to experience is going to the fair, going to family vacations, doing different things. So they were able to experience, but no. And that's something that I kind of think about, like, should I go back into this so we can have that family unit?
Yeah.
Because
that's probably the one thing that lingers.
Or the first day of school.
Yeah.
Just those things, it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. When they old and crusty, then it's like not as bad, but you want those firsts.
Yes. Because that was
together.
That was a memory that I had, like, when Rennie and Ariana, they would go to, we would take them to school. We would take them to school as a family. Yeah. So we'll walk them to the classroom. We'll, take them to meet their teacher. We did all those things, and you can't do that.
You can't do that, and it's tragic, man. It is tragic. Like, literally, I just be wanting a guy just for that. Like, I literally want to have a child just to have those moments. But that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
But I still want it.
Because you see the other families and you like, oh, you go on vacation with your friends, or you just see, just different things. You like, that's what I want.
Because it's like all the difficulty of raising a child at a young age, that's the highlight, is being able to have those family moments. Like, of course you still have them single by yourself, but you're not sharing it with that person that created this child with you, and being able to see the bond. Like, I mean, even the brief time that we were together, like, being able to take pictures of her sleeping on his chest, or us, like, having a picture as a family under the Christmas tree.
Yes.
Man.
Opening gifts as a family.
As tired as you be during that time, because you're tired together, sneak around the house trying not to wake the baby up together, those were memories that you can share together that are really, like, priceless, that are beautiful moments in this otherwise exhausting fucking time.
Yeah.
Like,
and some people, they have figured it out where they can co-parent that way, where they can stay in the home with, even though they're not together, they can stay in the same home to raise their kids in that family unit. Yeah. And where they don't know what the parents have going on, but they just think that the mom and dad is still together.
Yeah, and they're essentially roommates. Like, so before we got into talks of divorce, I used to think on the outside that I could do that shit. And maybe I could if I was the one that left him. I could have been like, yeah, sure.
More mature. Yeah.
Yeah, but no. I had to fully separate, to not blur the lines, because emotions would have been all over the place, fucking shit up. And I think that's something that people need to recognize. You need to know yourself enough to know what you can handle in a co-parenting relationship, because co-parenting dynamics are very blurred, because you're having to share this intimate part of yourselves without being intimate. Like, this baby you guys created, the love that you shared to create this child and the love that you have for this child have to completely be separate from everything else y'all have going on. Any fights, any anger, you have to separate it all. And not everybody's able to just do that while being triggered. For me, like, while we were living together and separated, it was just too confusing. Like, bringing me like gifts, we making dinner and eating, like, it feels like we're in a relationship, but we're not.
It was too fake.
It was too much. Yeah, especially when you're sharing a child together and your whole because even just the experience that you had, the closeness that you share with your child, when you're doing that around somebody, like, it's a very like lovey-dovey like scenario. And when y'all not in that space, it's confusing as hell. Your emotions be wanting to jump
all over the place.
It'll make you fall in love. Like, this cute baby, y'all be just, we one big happy. No, you're not a family.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're a family, but you're not that happy family. So go ahead and separate that.
That's so true, because, you know, you get in your feelings and you're like, well, maybe we can work things out. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. Maybe it's hope. And then when he does something because he's seeing reality.
Yeah,
we're not together.
He ain't thinking that. That's your head that's happening then.
Yeah, and then now your feelings is hurt and you back to square one.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, you don't want to do that to yourself. But I think that is kind of the reason why a lot of women stay in relationships or marriages longer than they should and take a lot of things, because they don't want to break up that family unit. Yeah. So if you do have in your mind, like, do I choose myself? Yeah. Or do I keep my family together? And like, what happened or what he did or whatever transpired, is it really that serious?
All right, guys. Yep, you guessed it. That's all for today, folks. You're going to have to catch the rest of this conversation next week, airing Wednesday. And trust me, it gets better. It is good, y'all. So thank you so much, as always, for rocking with me, rocking with us. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Tell your friends about me. Check us out on all the streaming platforms. That's Anchor FM, that's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Wherever you look for podcasts, we're there. If you are on social media, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, check me out. It's Alexis. So that's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. If that isn't confusing enough, just check the link in the description for all of my handles. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in another episode. Bye.